I want to talk about something today that I think many women feel, but don't always recognize. Grief. Not just grief over losing someone else. We know that grief. We know when someone passes away that it's there. There are other kinds of grief, and we don't talk very much about this. I think it gets talked a lot about in the therapeutic world, which is fantastic. I take nothing away from that. Like Kristen Burris is our amazing trauma therapist, and I love that we have her angle on everything. But there's also grief when you realize how long you've been losing yourself. Welcome back to Unlearning the Good Girl. This topic feels really important to me because healing is not just awareness. Healing often comes with grief. And I think that many of us are surprised by that. We think that once we start seeing our patterns, we'll feel relieved. And yes, that can definitely be a part of it. But a lot of times, there's also a feeling of sadness. And we don't always understand what it's for. Sometimes it's sadness in how much we carried. Sometimes it's sadness for how much we tolerated. Sometimes it's sadness for how long we ignored ourselves. There's also some sadness for how long we believed our worth was tied up with what we could do for everyone else. And the biggest one of all is that sometimes we get sad because we have to let go of that old life that served us at one time, that may have, yes, unhealthy behaviors, yes, unhealthy things that we do, but we may have enjoyed parts of it. And while we still get to enjoy our life, the fear of the unknown is scarier than the fear of the known evil. Let me say that again. The fear of the unknown is scarier than the known evil. And so we grieve what we're about to lose or what we think we're about to lose. And I work with that a lot because it's real and it matters and it shows up in all sorts of ways. So I remember having a moment in my own life where I looked back and realized how much of myself had been shaped by survival. How much of me had become the peacekeeper, the overfunctioner, the strong one, the dependable one. And yes, from the outside, those traits looked admirable. People praised me for them. People depended on me for them. People expected them. But underneath all of that, those patterns were costing me. They were costing me the life I wanted to lead. They were costing me healthy relationships. They were costing me self-value and self-worth because I only believed I had worth because I was helping somebody else. I didn't believe I had worth because I was standing upright and taking in air. Think about that. Does that apply to you? Because a lot of the women I work with feel that way. And when I started seeing this all clearly, I felt some grief. Not because I hated who I had been, but because I realized how hard I had worked and how hard I had let life get. That version of me was surviving. That version of me learned, keep the peace, stay easy. Don't ask for too much. Don't rock the boat. Carry what needs carrying. And she did what she knew. And that version deserves compassion, not judgment, not criticism. Compassion, love, grace, understanding. That's something I think most women miss. When they look back at their old patterns, they shame themselves. Why did I stay so long? Why did I keep saying yes? Why didn't I speak up? Why did I keep abandoning myself? Those questions usually come from today's awareness, not yesterday's capacity. That's important because you can't judge an old version of yourself for surviving the only way you knew how. You honor her, you thank her, and then you get to decide, I don't need to survive that way anymore. That's the healing. I worked with a wonderful lady once who said, I feel angry at myself for how much I gave. And underneath that anger, she was grieving. Grief for the years she'd spent disappearing. Grief for the energy she'd lost. Grief for the needs she ignored. And once she let herself feel that, everything started shifting. Because grief softens what shame hardens. Did you hear that? Grief softens what shame hardens. That's huge. And sometimes women stay stuck because they won't let themselves grieve. They want to skip to fixing, skip to action, skip to becoming the new version. But grief is part of the bridge because when you let yourself grieve, you make space. Space for truth, space for healing, space for a new way of being. So I have some more reflection prompts for you today if you have your notebook. What survival patterns have shaped who I am today? What did those patterns protect me from? What did they cost me? What part of my old self needs compassion instead of criticism? What am I ready to release? And who am I becoming now that I don't need those patterns anymore? You don't have to answer them all at once. You can answer one and come back to them. You can start and decide that you need to message me and get some assistance. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you take a step in the right direction so that you get to free yourself from all of this. Because that's the work and that's what changes everything. So if you want a little more help, download my Choose You Reflection Guide at www.thankfulheartscoaching.com/choose you. It's going to help you with those patterns, help you understand why it feels heavy, and just really tell you what you're grieving. And you can always email me at thankfulheartscoaching@gmail.com and you can tell me what came up for you in this episode. Tell me what you're grieving. Because you know what? You're allowed to heal and you're allowed to get past this. One small step at a time. You don't have to hate the version of you who survived. You can honor her and still outgrow her. That's your work this week.